All right, let's jump straight into this, because today we are looking at a story that is just, wow. It's a truly incredible medical and human story. We're looking at a life that wasn't just measured in the number of years lived, but in the sheer, staggering volume of giving. We are talking about James Harrison, a guy famously known around the globe as the man with the golden arm.
I want you to think about this opening thought for a second. Some lives are measured in decades. James Harrison's was measured in donations. It's a really profound way to frame a life, isn't it? We usually think of a lifespan strictly as, time. But in this explainer, we're going to see exactly why Harrison's legacy is literally counted in the number of times he voluntarily rolled up his sleeve.
Part 1. A Promise Made in New South Wales. Every great story has an origin, right? And this one begins back in 1936 with a totally ordinary boy in New South Wales. But then, life threw him a massive curveball. 13 liters. When James was just 14 years old, he had to undergo this major, incredibly intense chest surgery. And to survive it, his body required a staggering 13 liters of blood. 13 liters! And where did all that blood come from? Complete strangers. People he would never even meet had given their blood to save a 14-year-old kid. Understanding the profound, heavy weight of that gift, young James made a vow right then and there. He promised that as soon as he was old enough, he was going to give that blood back. So you watch this timeline build. He's born in 36, goes through that terrifying ordeal at age 14 and makes that crucial promise. And then, at age 18, the moment he was legally allowed, he walked right into a clinic and donated blood for the very first time. He actually followed through. He kept his word.
Part 2. The Golden Arm and the 63-Year Routine. Okay, making a promise in a moment of extreme gratitude is one thing. But keeping it with this level of unbelievable consistency over an entire lifetime, that is something else entirely. The sheer discipline here is just mind-boggling. After that very first donation at 18, he went back a fortnight later. And then again after that. He donated every fortnight, every 2 weeks, without fail. This routine spanned an unbelievable 63 years, from 1954 all the way to 2018. Started at 18 and didn't stop until he finally aged out and retired from donating at 81. Just think about the dedication it takes to do anything every 2 weeks for over 6 decades.
But here is where the story shifts from, a really cool tale of personal dedication to an absolute medical marvel. Because it wasn't just about how often he donated, it was what was actually hiding inside his blood. To get this, we have to understand a really high-stakes medical conflict known as HDFN. Basically, this dangerous condition happens when a pregnant mother has Rh-negative blood, but her unborn baby has Rh-positive blood. Because of this totally random biological mismatch, the mother's immune system gets confused. It tragically sees the baby's blood cells as a foreign invader, like a virus, and it actually begins to attack the unborn child.
Now, before the 1960s, the reality of HDFN was absolutely devastating. It was essentially a coin flip for survival. 1 in every 2 affected babies died, a 50% mortality rate. It was this heartbreaking, recurring tragedy for families all over the world, and doctors at the time were just desperately scrambling to find a solution. Enter James Harrison. Doctors ended up making an incredible discovery in his plasma. It turned out his blood contained this ultra-rare, incredibly powerful antibody called anti-D. This potent little antibody was the exact magic boon they needed to create a life-saving medication for these at-risk mothers. It acts like a biological shield, totally preventing the mother's immune system from ever attacking the baby. So, starting in the mid-1960s, Australian researchers used his specific unique donations to develop this treatment. Because of his blood, a near-certain tragedy was literally transformed into a highly manageable condition.
Part 3. Millions of lives saved.
So, what exactly happens when you combine 63 years of clockwork fortnightly donations with a rare life-saving antibody? Well, the numbers speak for themselves. 2.4 million. Take a second and just really absorb that number. That is the breathtaking estimate of babies saved by the medication developed directly from James Harrison's donations over his lifetime. Over 2 million lives that had the chance to actually begin simply because this one guy stuck to his routine.
And honestly, here is the most beautifully profound, full-circle moment of the whole thing. Among those millions of babies saved, his very own daughter, and then later down the line, her children, his grandchildren. His unwavering, decades-long dedication to giving back ended up directly rescuing his own family. It allowed his own bloodline to thrive. How wild is that?
Naturally, the world took notice of this unprecedented generosity.
He held a Guinness World Record from 2005 to 2022 for the most plasma donated by a single person. But let's be real, way more enduring than any official plaque is the affectionate, completely fitting nickname the world gave him, the man with the golden arm.
Part 4. A Quiet Legacy and the Future of Anti-D.
Because JamesHarrison retired at 81, we do have to look at the somewhat precarious current state of anti-D in Australia today. Right now, fewer than 200 Australians are known to carry this vital antibody. That's it. And together, this tiny group of carriers is supporting around 45,000 mothers and babies every single year. Because we obviously can't rely on just a handful of extraordinary donors to hold up the whole system forever, the future of this is absolutely critical. Researchers are actively racing right now to replicate this exact antibody in laboratories. The ultimate goal is that one day, this vital treatment won't have to depend on a single extraordinary person walking into a clinic.
JamesHarrison's extraordinary physical journey actually came to an end recently. He passed away on February 17, 2025. He was 88 years old, and he died peacefully in his sleep in a nursing home back in New South Wales. And through it all, his entire life, he never sought the headlines. He didn't do it for the fame or the praise or the money. He was just an ordinary guy who made a promise and simply kept rolling up his sleeve every 2 weeks for over 60 years. So I want to leave you with a provocative thought to chew on today. How many lives could change if we all just kept a simple promise? Somewhere out there in the world right now, there's a child, healthy, alive, completely unknowing, who exists solely because a 14-year-old boy made a promise to give back and an 18-year-old man actually followed through.